June 18, 1815. A single day that would change the course of history. On this battlefield, amidst mud and fire, the fate of an empire was sealed. The Battle of Waterloo, where the sun set on Napoleon's ambitions, and the world watched an era collapse in a storm of cannon smoke and blood. But what really happened on this fateful day? What forces, political, military, and human, clashed to determine the fate of Europe? And most importantly, what lessons does this legendary battle hold for us today? Join me as we unravel the story of Waterloo, Napoleon's final gamble. To understand Waterloo, we must first understand Napoleon. For over a decade, he had reshaped Europe with fire and steel. From the sands of Egypt to the fields of Austerlitz, Napoleon had proven himself a master of war, an emperor who dictated the fate of nations. But by 1814, the tide had turned. A grand coalition of European powers, Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, finally forced Napoleon to abdicate. He was exiled to the island of Elba, a tiny rock in the Mediterranean. Yet Napoleon was not one to fade into history. In March 1815, he escaped from exile and returned to France, in an event known as the 100 Days. The people rallied to him, the king fled, and once again, Napoleon was emperor. Europe, however, would not tolerate his return. The great powers assembled their armies, determined to crush him once and for all. And so, the stage was set for a final confrontation. Facing Napoleon was the Seventh Coalition, led by Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, and the Prussian Field Marshal Gebert von Bluchon. Napoleon's army, 73,000 men, veterans of past campaigns, ready to reclaim glory. Wellington's allied army, 68,000 men, a mix of British, Dutch and German forces, stationed near the Belgian town of Waterloo. Bluchon's Prussians, 50,000 strong, advancing toward the battlefield. Napoleon's plan was simple: divide and conquer. Defeat Wellington before the Prussians arrived. And on the morning of June 18, 1815, the battle began. The rain had fallen hard the night before, turning the fields of Waterloo into a sea of mud, an omen of what was to come. At 11:30 a.m., the French attacked Hougoumont, a fortified farmhouse on Wellington's right flank, but the British and their allies held firm. By 1:30 p.m., Napoleon ordered a massive assault on the centre, sending Marshal Ney and thousands of men against Wellington's line at Les Saintes. The fighting was brutal. Bayonets clashed, muskets fired, men fell. But still, Wellington held. At 4 p.m., Napoleon saw an opportunity. He ordered his elite Imperial Guard, the finest soldiers in France, to break through. It was their moment of destiny. But as they advanced, they met a wall of British and Dutch firepower. The Guard faltered. Then, to the horror, Wellington's troops counterattacked, pushing them back. Someone shouted the fateful words, "Le garde recule." The Guard is retreating. Panic spread. The French army collapsed, and with the arrival of the Prussians, the battle was over. Napoleon had lost. By nightfall, over 50,000 men lay dead or wounded on the battlefield. Waterloo had shattered Napoleon's dreams of reclaiming Europe. Within weeks, he abdicated once again, but this time there was no return. He was exiled to St. Helena, a lonely island in the South Atlantic, far from power, far from France. There he remained until his death in 1821. Waterloo was more than a battle. It was the end of an age. The echoes of Waterloo still resonate. What can we learn from it? The dangers of overconfidence. Napoleon underestimated the resilience of Wellington and the speed of the Prussians. Even the greatest leaders can fall if they ignore reality. The power of alliances. Wellington and Lucan's partnership was crucial. No victory is won alone. Adaptability in war and life. Wellington adjusted his strategy throughout the battle. Napoleon, on the other hand, relied on old tactics. Those who adapt survive. Those who don't fall. And of course, the unpredictability of fate. A night of rain slowed Napoleon's artillery, a small detail that played a major role. History turns on the smallest moments. Waterloo shaped the world we live in. It ended Napoleon's reign, it redrew the map of Europe, and it ushered in nearly a century of relative peace. And yet, history teaches us one undeniable truth. No empire lasts forever. The rise and fall of great leaders, the battles that reshape nations, these are the cycles of history, and if we fail to learn from them, we are doomed to repeat them. Waterloo was not just the end of a battle, it was the end of an era.